morning. Very good morning. This is the third session of Fire Safe State Gujarat as well as Fire Safe India. This series, the purpose of this series is to get expertise and sharing of experience. That is called as sharing is a brotherhood. You can see on the theme. So today we are very fortunate that we are having a very uh, you can say dynamic ex-CFO, Mr. Pratap Kargupikar sir. He is the person who has served throughout the life in Mumbai Fire Brigade services, and he is the person who was the main incident commander on 26/11/2008 terrorist attack Taj Hotel. So, well, we all welcome you, Kargupikar sir. Good morning.
Thank you very much, and a very, very good morning to each and everyone. Let's have a live session so that we can learn what are the past experiences and what we are going to learn, what are the measures which are required to be taken in future in such a case is part of it. Because fire discriminate nobody. Once it starts, it has to be controlled, it has to be extinguished. That's a main important point.
Yeah. So we will keep discussing about the experience of Prabhat sir. In between, I will share few questions which we have got from various people throughout the India through WhatsApp group, and I have added few more questions so that we can get insight of Mr. Prabhat sir. And later on these questions, the dais will be everybody for any query and any discussion. So now I am going to start this and setting the tune of this series, Fire Safe Gujarat State and Fire Safe Mission India. So this is the series 1. We have started first session on 14th April 2021. Dr. G.C. Mishra was there, ex-director of Delhi Fire Services. On 15, there was a P.K. Rao, director of Uttar Pradesh Fire Services was with us. And now today, one more icon of Indian Fire Service, that is Mr. Pratap Kargupikar sir. So sir, my first question is related to changes and revision in NBC. You have seen a lot of version of NBC throughout your entire life. Now we are in the 2016 NBC. What are the major changes you think these NBC are giving us, or they are taking the feedback of field site expertise, what the problem they are facing? Really these problems are being highlighted in these documentation or revision? Please explain.
Yeah. There are two important things what has happened to this particular, all the 2005, 2016 or earlier 2023. Whatever the situation is, two things have happened very well in the interest of this life safety as well as property safety also. Earlier only used to talk life, but now another important thing is property safety is important. Now, it was not mandatory at given time when it started in 2005. Now later on, what has happened is if the state adopt this particular national building code, then it gets a teeth to implement, teeth to punish all those factors which are now come. Most of the all factor acts adopted this particular national building code. And they implement, it has to require to be implemented in toto rather than in particularly stops and gaps. Stops and gaps is not going to help you to address the particular parts of life safety aspect part of it. Very important point, I always feel that now the fire rated doors, fire rated curtains, fire rated, all these fire rated things are going to help the firefighters most. The reason is in the metropolitan cities, most of the metropolitan cities, the chances of a firefighter reaching the site of a particular fire scene is very remote. Remote means that it will take at least 1 hour to 1.5 hours to reach the particular place. Another important point is whether the open space is adequate, whether the ladder can be pitched, aerial ladders can be pitched, and then subsequently rescue can be effected. Only providing refuge areas are not going to help you out. Access to the refuge area by the aerial ladders are very important. That is the main factor. No, you have another 60 meters, 90 meters, all are going to fail if you don't have an access into the building and also the open spaces, because all the four jacks with extents, it is minimum requirement. What we have seen our practical knowledge is that it should be at least 8 meters. Less than 8 meters is going to create a problem. And then 45 tons part of it is another important thing. What we see is most of the sewer lines pass through this particular open area, which may create a problem if the particular ladder weight is more than 45 tons, something like that. Anything 30 tons below is something which is always an adverse problem. Chances of the toppling of these things may happen, or tag basically of the particular area ladder is also important. So what important is basically, it is very known thing that it is the firefighting is required to be inbuilt rather than from the external one. External has a limitations, but we do have that we can definitely fight, rescue people, subject to again the underlying point is whether all requirements are fulfilled by the particular builder, especially the open space, overhang, all those things are not there. So please remember that only external rescue is possible and effective, maybe to the extent of 45 meters, not above 45 meters. The parameters always change, the wind velocities and other so many factors which can go against you. So you'll not be able to rescue people by ladder.
Okay, sir. First of all, I am extremely sorry. I have spelled out your name wrongly. That Prabhat, your name is Pratap. Somebody
That's fine, sir.
Somebody has given me a message. That is the means beauty of brotherhood, and sharing is caring, correcting yourself as well as other your brotherhood also. So now my next question is to you, sir. What is the need to understand building structure, components, or how the building structure is going to behave during firefighting? What is the importance of these things to understand by a CFO or a station officer or a person or in charge of fire services, whosoever is responding to any type of building emergency?
Sir, there are two things. One, my experience shows that everyone who is involved in firefighting should know the structure very well. What are the plus and the minuses of the individual structure? Take it granted, particularly the staircases. Whether the staircases are properly ventilated and whether the fire-rated doors are proper, right? In any case, even you provide a very good system, that is the pressurization system, my experience shows that it will override once most of the people trying to come out in the staircase, because it will the air is going to be, the leakage is so much that the whole system will not work at all. So it is the discipline, it is the how to organize the particular fire evacuation, whether it is all at once or in phase manner. Now, in a high-rise building, it is required to be controlled at every level. How many people are there in staircase? What is the status of the particular pressurization? 35 pascals, 50 pascal. This will not, once the people start coming in from various floors part of it, the first thing what is going to happen is the failure of the pressurization system. And once that happens, I think probably you are unsafe in the particular staircase. Another factor which comes into basically from life safety point of view is that now we have to check this system at every intervals. Now maybe once in a week or 15 days, whatever may be the schedule, right? The point is it is required to be how much pressure is there in the system every quarter or every 15 days. You have to check that, then only. And again, the discipline. high-rise rescue is a very disciplined subject. All the factors should work in tandem so that the announcement is there. See, simply providing basically automatic announcement is not going to help. In a high-rise building, it has to be basically staggered this thing evacuation, then only it is possible. So you have a chunk of people slab by slab going down in a perfect manner. Somebody is monitoring it, saying that, yeah, no, you certain numbers of floors or only 2 or 3 floors can initially. Very important point in this case is initially the fire floor one above one down is required to be simultaneously evacuated in partial evacuation. Unless the particular slab of fire floor one above one down comes down to the nearest level of exit part of it, then only you introduce other floors to evacuate. This is required to be discipline. And then a very important point is that in high-rise building, you have to manage your own people. The administration can help you out, guide you, but you have to have a very disciplined one. Wardens are the only solution to this discipline evacuation part.
Sir, my next question is, you have started your career and now the decades to decades you have seen how the interior decoration or use of furniture or use of fabrics or antiques to beautification of the houses or buildings or complexes, how the fire load is increasing and how to calculate the fire load. And is it possible to a municipal corporation or Mumbai Fire Brigade to have such type of assessment? What?
Very important point in this.
How this building was constructed?
Okay, go ahead. Shall I reply? Yeah, you are audible. Shall I reply now? Your audibility. Please. Okay. Colleagues, can you hear my voice? Okay.
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, fine. There is some disruption, no problems. Okay. Now, we'll have to understand this particular module, which is very important point of view. Correct. Now, the point over here is, what is the reason, load, fire load, then occupant load, and then the combustible material available in the building, right? Now, if most of the things are combustible, the chances of spread of fires, flash fires, so the injuries to the fireman is very common. Now, once the particular fire retardant paint, fire retardant material, then sealing of the particular ducts, all those very important things. 2016 had given us a very good safety margin to the particular, if they added the fire retardant concept, whether it is upholstery, whether it is furniture, whether it is the paint, all those factors basically rated flame spread aspect part of it, which has been already introduced. That is a very important thing, and people, architects, builders should see that the especially where the area is more than 3,000 square feet. Sometimes there is always a problem of compartmentation on the higher side, vertical side part of it. In this case, these will definitely, if the fire retardant things are in place, first and the foremost thing what will happen is the propagation of fire, smoke, heat is reduced to a certain extent, and the time as it gets particularly extended, progression part of it, what will happen is the delay which is there for responding the particular local fire service will give an enough time to control the fire, to know where sprinklers are working, whether the wetrisers is in proper place, are they really going to go up, because we have to tap at least not one, but at least 3 landing walls at one given time to basically control the particular fire, because with the time, progression is always there. It is a matter of a few minutes which will change the whole scenario. A flash taking place and the whole fire will go out of control. So we see that fire retardant material in the building, it should be compulsory, and then the certificate should be given. So also basically when it comes to fire doors, the National Building Code 16 has very specifically said that the manufacturer and then for rating has to be there on the particular fire door. That's a very important thing. Otherwise, you find that simply thickness of the particular door is not going to help you out.
Yes, sir. Pratap sir, after getting NOC, renewal of NOC system, how we are ensuring that the building occupant has not increased the prescribed fire load as we have issued initially fire NOC to them?
Sir,
what is the mechanism? Is there any mechanism to check such things?
Yes, certainly yes, we can do that particular thing. Now once if NOC is given, now what comes into or what goes into is not known to anyone, particularly the regulatory authority. Now inspection of the fire in these buildings, especially 60 meters and above, the high-rise building part of it I'm talking of, is very compulsory. You have, after giving an NOC, you have to renew the NOC. Some people are doing 3 years, some states are doing only 1 year. See, there have to be very important standard practice in this case. Whether it is 1 year, fine. When it is 2 years, fine. But when the particular time comes for basically regulatory inspection part of it, to know whether any addition alteration been done, whether any flammable material has been introduced into the particular upholsteries and other part of it. That's more important for us.
Yeah, sir. One more question. Next question is that because questions are more, so you need to be very patient. I'm going to throw a lot of questions to you today.
Why not? Why not? Why not?
Sir,
I'm honored. Really speaking, I'm honored to see most of the faces who are there. Maybe only confined to their offices, but we are the one people who always face the brunt. The crime, I always hate to say that it is short circuit. Why not investigate it properly? Why the particular authority which will investigate will go in a court of law and say that no, this is not the DEC, right? Defective electric circuit, but this is something different.
Yes, sir. There is a provision of in Mumbai, buildings is having single staircase or single escape up to the, I think, 42 meter or something else. So why this being taken care or in the design stage, how they define that up to 42 or 40 meter only one staircase is required. Later on, one more concept comes, that is external stairs need to be provided for such buildings. So there is a confusion in design stage. The state regulation or building bylaws says only one staircase is required. After learning from various incidents, somebody has given a thought process. Because I was in 2018, I have met Mr. Prabhat Ramle sir. That was he was director of Mumbai Fire Brigade.
So the very important point over here is what are your capacities. Only having aerial ladders of various height is not going to suffice. Let me tell you, two staircases up. Number of two staircases is always there. One has to be standby, one is regular part of this. Is the standard principle of firefighting part of it, right? You have standby from. So naturally, the second staircase is nothing but a standby requirement. In case one gets basically contaminated, then subsequently we definitely fall back on the second one. Now, what has happened in Maharashtra is under 37, the total height of the building, which should be basically 69.9.9. I fail to understand this particular logic of mathematics. 69.9.9. What is this? If it is 70, then you have hoods of requirement comes into the second staircase part of it, sprinklers, wet risers, all those factors comes in. But if it is 16.9.9, then you have no staircase, additional staircase, no sprinkler systems inside the living area part of it. This is done. Let me tell you very clearly. I was fighting loggerhead with the government, saying that please reduce that cement 16.99 and get this people to 45 meters so that people can be rescued very easily.
Yeah.
Because
Sir, one more, next question is...
sir,
yeah,
one more,
you want to continue, sir?
yeah, I would like to add.
Yeah.
The Supreme Court did this very good job saying that your open spaces, earlier the open space for the 69.99 building height was only 1.5 on the three sides and only 6 meters in the front. That is a very, very bad thing which has been promulgated by the government of Maharashtra. I don't feel that people will die if you are single staircase, and the wing way and wing B has having another 40 tenements each within a central corridor, which is sprinklered. I do agree with you, but my experience is 100% of these particular buildings doesn't have weterizer, neither the down cover, neither the particular the various part, and they don't function when it is really required.
Sir, my question is, what is the importance of separation distance between two high-rise buildings? Whether we are maintaining such defined FAR and versus the surrounding road width in high-rise building in Mumbai, or you can say other part of the country, whom you think design point of view, which state is the best in such maintaining these standards like fire separation distance between two towers, two high-rise building, or surrounding roads as per the required resources which need to be used in case of emergency, like hydraulic platform. If I am not wrong, 8-meter width is required, 6-meter width is required minimum to surrounding area of a building to respond a fire team.
So the important point in this case is, very important is that when you provide a refuge area at various levels part of it, 24 meters, then 15 and onwards. The very important point is whether this particular refuge area can be accessed by the aerial ladders. What happens is you provide a refuge area wherein there's no access at all. So the no rescue cannot be possible from the particular refuge area. That's a very important thing. Most of the refuge building which are refuge are provided on the particular one face of the building. It should have a very proper access. At least 9 meters of open space should be available. At least 9 meters.
Yes, sir. And what about the separation distance between two buildings? Whether it is being maintained to avoid the spread of fire, as well as I am not able to seeing anywhere trencher system, which is written in books only.
Sir,
but in practically trenchers are not seems in sites.
See, this particular experiment doesn't work. All the requirement which comes into force is required to be tested, and experts should give an opinion whether this is going to work. I'll give a classic example. Right in Mumbai, every 30 meters the wind velocity increases by at least 3 meters per second part. Now there is I had an experience of getting into one of the 60 meters dual flat system part of it, and I went to the balcony. I could not open the door first, and secondly, I could not stand in the wind velocity so much, so that I could not stand over there. So I had to abandon my access to the particular area of the high-rise building at 60 meters part of it. Now we have 60 meters to 100 to 200 meters which is there. Now think of it, if the velocity of the particular wind is high, then the trenchers are not going to work at any given time. Right?
Sir, now I am going to ask you a very critical and personal question. Please don't mind it.
Oh, not at all.
Any incapability or any things about you. In your entire tenure, how many firefighter life lost during firefighting operation, and what are the learning you have implemented to avoid such things? I know in city fire services, yesterday we are also discussing there are a lot of pressure, lot of issues, response time, press, media, road traffic, lot of things are vital and critical factor. Even though in my opinion, it is a responsibility of all fire fraternities or all head of the fire services to save their team member. There should be no loss of life. So what is the learning or you want to share on this point?
See, the problem with the government, various government, not I'm talking of only Maharashtra part of it, the recent fire which happened in the mall wherein the particular COVID center was there, that's on the third floor. So the point over here is misoccupancy has got a limitations. Hospital is a totally different issue. Ambulatory, non-ambulatory patients are always there. We require a huge kind of lift to take them down if it is required, or to take them to the particular horizontal escape route, something so that the patient can be taken. But again, I'm telling you, it is a very, very, very difficult process. No, to take on a particular person who has got a hordes of life-saving equipment have been attached to this particular bed, how you are going to take him? In a single fault may lead to the particular patient death. And then again with the particular severity on the particular floor is to enter, and so smoke exhaust and other things which are there. It's a very difficult one. I always feel that the basically hospital occupancy should be always 100% proof, so that in case none of the patients are required to be removed. All the mechanical systems all should be in place, tested, and in regular intervals. Then only I think the patients right in the hospitals are going to be safe. Again, we should restrict the height of the particular hospital part, occupancy part of it. You cannot go, because we know that anything above 45 meters, my own experience says that anything above 45 meters, the fire is going to take our toll. First of all, the lift will not work. So all the way you have to go to the particular floor, carry your equipment, and by default you come to know that the weterizer is not working. You had it.
Sir, can you recall any incident when you have told your team member, guys, let's withdraw this firefighting operation, it is not safe for our life safety? And
Yeah.
you can recall any such incident?
There are many incidents like this which I have restricted my people. There was a fire on 70th floor, right? It's a residential building, and the fire was on the top 2 floors, right? And when we wanted to enter into the particular flat on 22nd floor, right? We came to know the weterizer is not working. So I told my team, no, we are, and then one explosion took place. Fortunately, I had told my staff to be away from the particular door, and that saved us, myself and my team, from this particular getting a serious injuries. There are 3 explosions took place. The weterizer was not working. So naturally, we had to pump water to the 70 meters. You can understand how much effort we have taken it to pump it out to the topmost 5 floor part of it. The weterizer did not work at any given time. This was old building which was built in 40 years, 60 years back.
Okay, sir. My next question is to most of the participants are writing to hear about Taj incident. So this question is related to that only. What was the difference of Taj hotel building? Construction play a vital role to sustain the building structure in fire. More than, I don't know how many days it lasts. I think 2-3 days it will be there. So what is the specialty of that Taj hotel building structure that it sustain and retain even though after grenade or explosive impact and firefighting point of view? What is the your takeaway on this point?
The very important point is the design of the building. It was an atrium type design, wherein the skylab floor, this thing, roof, sky roof, was it was wire rated basically. It took little time to fall down, but once the fire started on 6th floor. They set fire to 4 rooms. And the moment they set a fire to a very larger area, 3,000 square feet of room in the particular same floor part of it. Then subsequently, the particular glass wired roof fell down. And because it was an atrium design, the fire was confined to only 6th floor. There were 11 rooms set on fire, but no damage happened to the lower floors because of the atrium one. Uh, Another important point is most of the heat and smoke, once the roof, a glass roof, wired glass roof fell down, most of the heat as well as smoke went up, and that saved the particular down floors, and so also the people who were escaping from that particular time. Very important point is, very important, we'll have to understand why the malls have atrium. The moment there is a fire, then naturally the smoke is going to go up. Once it is properly exhausted, I always feel we should not allow this particular thing to collapse. It should be always at the top. The ventilation system, mechanical ventilation system, is the right way of approach of ventilation point of view. Once the fan starts, the chances of smoke coming down up to 2 meters part of it always reduces. This is proper mechanical ventilation, design mechanical ventilation will definitely see that the mall is safe as far as the life safety is concerned.
Yeah, sir.
Yeah, another add thing about the Taj Mahal part of it. There were only 3 explosions. Grenades were thrown in the particular lift, so that the lift cannot be used by the various agencies, the police as well as fire services. Fortunately, let me tell you, I'm really fortunate. I am here today because most of the grenades which we found in the morning, almost about 7 the grenades were thrown under our vehicles, fire appliances. Did not explode, thanks to Chinese grenades.
It's lucky we are having an interview with you. Otherwise, it's good quality they have used, then it will be a different thing.
And then entire 3 days of firefighting, morning and evening part of it, none of my firemen was hurt. Can you tell me at the one given time when we started rescuing on 27th morning at 1:30 a.m., we were rescuing people for continuously 2.5 days. And nothing happened to me. I don't know whether it is God intervention to save us or whether it is our courage which we started rescuing people throughout the night. That saved people. That's, let me tell you. We were at the particular duck sitting part of it, we call it. We were hardly few meters from the particular terrorist part of it. But what saved us, why the terrorists did not fire when we were rescuing with the various ladders, right from the 1st floor level to the 6th floor level, is the smoke. They set fire to the 11 rooms, and the huge smoke which generated, they forced that particular thing from one wing, that is south wing, to the north wing. That saved us. Otherwise, we would have been sitting duck, and our casualties would be, because we were almost 72 people working simultaneously, rescuing people for 2.5 days, would have been a different story.
Sir, so what was the learning? Do you think life jacket should be provided to fire emergency responder in such terrorist attack or in such adverse situation? They should be equipped with, even though in present condition, they don't have any 3-layer suit. And in such situation you have faced there, we are looking to have a bulletproof jackets.
So the very important point here is the apparels what we wear, BA, including BA apparel, and various equipment which with the thermal cameras, red side beams, electrical calculation part of it. All this, see, if you see another proper PPE, proper 3-layer PPE, plus the BA, plus another equipment which are there, it is very difficult to have a bulletproof jacket on that. Very important point. We had used this particular bullet jacket, but we found that our activity, wherein our ability to move, reduces to the 60% to 70%. How you are going to fight a particular fire with so much of restriction? Are you going to carry that particular weight of 35 kg to 50 kg on your body and try to fight the particular fire? Sir, it is practically not possible. Initial 10 minutes, 20 minutes, say max 30 minutes. We can fight with this particular load, but not more. Again, the point, in Goa, basically seminar had specifically stated that we are here to rescue. We will not carry arms. Will if it is required, then only we'll use the particular bulletproof jacket if required. Otherwise, we are not going to use bulletproof jackets or carry any particular weapon. We save people, we don't kill people.
Yes, sir. I would like to share one recent incident. We have a NSG exercise in as per their schedule. So NSG commandos asked me to that whenever we are going to fight with terrorists in floor-wise, your team will be the second team who will rescue the casualty or other thing. I am going to save my guy life also. I totally denied him, and I told him, whenever you give me clearance that ground floor is clear from terrorists, then only we can go for rescue. So such type of thing in practical scenario, it might be not possible due to a lot of pressures. So it is time to the manufacturer of PPE's equipment to think in a way that the 3-layer Nomex suit can be incorporated with bulletproof jacket with very less weight. So such type of innovation is need of our, I think so.
So the important point, we'll have to understand the firepower of a particular terrorist. AK-47, let me tell you very clearly, when I approached the particular Taj part of it, it was standing strict instruction that you will not go near 500 meters to the building. Because if the bullet is fired, you will die instantly. This was good for the practical purposes part of it. On paper, it all looks good. But when there is a fire in front of you and people are shouting for help, I think we are the last one to wait for. We have to start rescuing first. That's what we did in this particular Taj aspect part of it. We ignored the particular aspect of 500 meters distance part of it. Because when it comes to rescue part of it, is one-to-one, right? Very important point. And then again, when we experience that, yes, first load we did with the particular mechanical ladder, that is the Angus 100 part, which was has got a height of more than 4.5 meters per floor part of it. That's why we could reach. What we did was initial stages, the ladders are required to become and then subsequently picked and started rescue part of it. Earlier 2 hours, we only rescuing people from the first floor, right? And to part of the second floor. That's it. So again, we'll have to understand what are the important things which are there. Let me tell you a very important thing. A hook ladder was used to particularly gain access to the 4th floor. Can you just imagine? It helps so much for us to extinguish one fire set on the particular 4th floor by the terrorists of a north side. And that was no access was there. So only access to this particular fire floor level was the first of all important thing is use of an hook ladder, and subsequently we use an Angus ladder to access the particular floor, and we could extinguish the particular fire when the terrorists were there on the 4th, 6th floor at the particular given time. See, all equipments are required to be analyzed properly and put to use as per the particular requirement. That's what my experience is.
Really, sir, it is a presence of mind. The firefighter or fire officer should be likewise how he can utilize his resources, available resources in a best way. Like you have told, hook ladder. We have taught lot of times, but nobody has such a vision to use such type of equipment in adverse situation. So it is a presence of mind matters, firefighter presence of mind is always there in such critical situation. That is the success story of that CFO or fire officer, in my opinion. So next question is coming to the sir, incident command system, unified incident command system, how it worked during Taj attack, and what are the you can say barriers during this entire emergency you would like to share?
Sir, the important point is I do agree with the incident command center part of it. It has got unique ways. But in such a cases when you have to basically rescue more than 500 people from the building, it is a gigantic that sometimes you have to keep away this particular incident command part of it because it is not possible at all to control all them. Let me tell you, 72 people were working from front side, seaside, left side, north side, everything to rescue people who are stranded in the particular room. Another difficulty what we found was the particular doors, basically windows, especially windows, were thick, basically toughened glass and double layer. Now it was very difficult to basically break open this. It used to take at least 20-21 minutes to break open these two glasses and rescue people part of it.
Yeah, sir. So, sir, next question is what is the definition of incident command control center change in, like I am asking about zero ground command center in terrorist attack situation and in other case major fire incident, whether it is going to be changed or whether it should be a different strategy or whether it should be a different setup, different location, zero command center or incident command center in both conditions.
See, in a large scale part of it, the incident command control is required, wherein the incident command can be not only the fire point of view, not the particular fire personnel, but also other personnel which are going to contribute to you part of it. So in that case, this particular command center will definitely work, which will be away from the particular basically fire, what you call the particular barrage of bullets, basically, which is safe. That's fine, particularly. But my advice is you should avoid as per a direct access to the particular terrorists. If the terrorists are there in the building, I think we'll have to take a very cautious aspect that you are away from the particular barrage of fire, bulletproof, bullets which are going to fly everywhere. The classic case is ricocheting bullet can kill you, not necessarily that it will be direct. If the AK-47 bullets hit you at even at the 500 meters away, it will kill you instantly in spite of having a bulletproof jacket.
Because effective range is 500 meters. Because I am having also a paramilitary background, sir. I have done all firing of such weapons. So you are absolutely right. Effective range is 500 meters. Even though you are protected with bullet jacket, it will pierce it. So important thing, how we synchronize various agency, and do we have any action plan or SOP which is being circulated and training imparted to various agencies? Suppose there is a terrorist attack, we suddenly jump out there and started our doing on role. But do we have such guidelines from the state police or you can say ATS or like other agencies? Are they involving us on regular exercise? Like I have witnessed in NSG commando exercise 3 days at Mundra, and once in a year or twice in a year they come to use and incorporate us, and we will discuss and get synchronized with our team. And the other thing is importance of unified communication system. What is the communication system do we have or we can explore so that each and every agencies who are involving in such major disaster can come into the single platform to understand what is actually going on at site?
The important point over here is the communication is key. Now, every particular personals or particular agencies which are getting involved in it, whether the energy, the local fire police, or the local fire service part of it, each and everyone has to have his own communication system, because we will not at any time we will not interfere in the individual capacities, because it may harm or it may basically create a chaos in interaction of the particular jamming of the system. So one has to be very clear that energy has to have his own dedicated communication line, so also fire service, and so also there should be any particular one point agenda that with one switch you can control all the three systems or communicate with all the systems if it is required. If it is not required, it should be the particular separate dedicated communication system for individual services.
ओके सर, तो आज मैं सर मेरी तरफ से इतना ही है। ये सबसे पहले तो थैंक यू स्वास्तिक जडेजा को कि इस तरह का प्लेटफॉर्म जनरेट किया, और जो जो हमारे जो भी लीडर्स आ रहे हैं हम बात कर रहे हैं, तो आपने जनरली सुना होगा धुन बदल के तो देखो। आपको विक्टिम कार्ड नहीं खेलना है, आपको कंट्रीब्यूटर बनना है। कोई एक प्लेटफॉर्म की इसका ब्यूटी है इस प्लेटफॉर्म की। सो now this platform is open to any participant who would like ask any questions, queries to Pratap Kargupikar sir, ex-CFO, dynamic CFO of Mumbai Fire Brigade. Anybody is having question, please ask. Whenever he can spare his time, it will be continue. Please continue.
Mishra sir. Go ahead. Oh, Mishra sahab aa gaye. Good afternoon, Mishra sahab.
गुड आफ्टरनून, कैसे हैं?
ऑल वेल चल रहा है सर। कोविड है, घर में बैठे हैं, कहाँ नहीं जा सकते हैं।
गुड। So enjoy sitting home.
Yes.
Any specific question for me?
Sir, one more, because you are the active part of it, is one important thing. While I still work for the American Express and a consultant part of it, I had given a job to understand basically the sanitizer, which has a basically alcohol based, right? Ethyl alcohol or isopropyl part of it. Now, when I was going through this particular documents on which are available regarding the fire safety aspect, basically the flammability part of it. Yes, ultimately the conclusion is very simple part of it. The medical who says that your alcohol percentage should be 80% and more. That means that is flammable. Even though the flame is not visible sometimes, but in a larger quantity it is definitely visible, and there are so many accidents which have happened in the particular. So we have restricted the quantity to the extent of 15 liters in one case, and then all the particular containers, alcohol sanitizer containers should be in basically fire rated lock room. And we found, yeah.
Two aspects of this question. Now, sanitizers, as you rightly said, they are alcohol based. And the problem is a bit different than what we perceive. Especially now when you talk of the American Express building, in that case, I presume that it is centrally air-conditioned building. And when a building is air-conditioned, whether centrally or in parts, the biggest casualty is the rate of air change in that area. in hospitals where they use plenty of such sanitizers or similar chemicals which are very volatile, but there the rate of air change is 20 air changes per hour or even more to keep the infection away. And these 28 air changes are capable of taking away the vapors which are produced when the sanitizers, hand sanitizers are used. If we do not have that kind of air changes if you talk of air conditioned system in normal buildings, 8 or 12, so that air change is not sufficient to take away the large quantities of sanitizers being used in the office premises. The care that is required to be taken is not only fire segregation of the storage, but also where you use the sanitizer in that area, either it should be done in the open area, or if it is done inside, then the area should be identified and rate of air changes increased. That is the fundamental thing that we have forgotten. Now in most premises I see, whether you go to a shopping mall, to cinema theater, they do it at the gate. But in other cases, you get into the mall, go to the shop in a mall, then you are sanitized there itself. So these vapors are not going out of the premises unless some efforts are made in this direction. So to me, the best solution is that sanitization, whatever way you do, whichever sanitizer you use, the best thing would be to do the sanitization at the entrance of the building rather than within the building. And storage of alcohol is also to be looked at. One point you have mentioned about the fire resistance rating of the compartment or the enclosure where such storages are done. But the quantity that you should look at, how many days storage you want, is not that I'll book order for say 20, 30, 40 jerry can and we will keep on using from this storage, and when we are exhausted or nearly exhausting the storage, then we get another consignment. So you have to work out that you have a storage for one day only. So not to store large quantities of hand sanitizers. Again, I am repeating, do it before people enter into the building. That is the open area. Then you will not have any risk. Or if you want to do it within the building, make sure that the area is ventilated at a much higher air changes rather than the normal HVAC system which we design for the office buildings. So office building, if sanitizers are to be used, they should have almost similar air changes what we do in case of hospital buildings. But unfortunately, hospitals also, for in the name of preventing the infection, they are doing larger air changes. But for fire safety, it is 12 only. And another issue is that in case of fire, when the detection system operates, your AC system and everything, air handling unit, they are switched off. So there is no exchange of air. So these are the issues which are related to the issue which you have raised. And we must think about the number of air changes when we do the sanitization. Thank you very much.
Sir, please unmute them out.
Sir, you are unmute.
Sorry. Okay, Mr. Again, there are two things which I would like to understand. Your observation is absolutely right. Suggestion is also right that in mall and other things, the particular sanitation should take place outside so that there will no vapors inside. Now, wherever there is an air conditioning system available, that we can definitely regulate it for the air changes, ACPS. But what happens to the mega COVID centers, which are temporary structures really in place? And then the quantity of the sanitizer is literally everywhere. And it is not protected in some cases. Very large quantity of sanitizers are stored part of it, right? Now, another important point is the mega centers are 40 meters, 60 meters, even in sometimes it is 100 meters in length and 30 meters to 32 meters in width. In this case, the chances of air changes, as you are suggesting that should be more than 20 is required, then the question comes over here. Because most of the things is combustible. So that is why the particular fires are taking place. The classic case, which in this particular case is recent COVID center, which was there in a mall, and third floor part of it. Adequate escape routes were not available as per the hospital thing is required. Especially the lift which will carry patient with a bed and it's all life supporting things. That's particularly fine. The important is the COVID centers which are ground floor structures but having combustible material and having a large quantity of sanitizer is a question here. How to address this? That is more more opinion part of it. There are so many fires taking place, and one of the reasons why the fire is spreading is because of this presence of sanitizers in bottles, especially 1 liter, 500 ml or something. That is my worry about this.
A very valid issue you have raised, and that is the use of combustible materials and the flammable liquids for whatever purposes in a healthcare facility. Now, when you create something without addressing the basic or the core issues, then you are likely to land up in the situation what we are in. Prior to COVID, the number of fire accidents that took place in hospital buildings were counted on fingers, where the loss of life was there. But in the COVID period, we have seen multiple cases where there are several people who have died. Now, what do? They say take the premises which is not designed for the purpose they intend using it. जिस वजह की डिजाइन है ही नहीं उसके लिए वो यूज करना चाहते हैं. दूसरा जो सबसे बड़ा जो कारण मुझको लगता है, आप देखिए ये जो फायर्स होती हैं जो एयर कंडीशनड एरिया में होती हैं, हाउ आर दे डिफरेंट? और जैसे आपने कहा फ्लेमेबल लिक्विड्स भी है, वहाँ प्लास्टिक्स भी है, एक्रिलिक के कर्टन भी है, फोम मैट्रेस है, सब कुछ है वहाँ पर. Over and above there is a flow of oxygen there. Means they are easily ignitable. If you have ventilators in that area, then you have continuous discharge of oxygen in that area. So percentage of oxygen is more. So it is going to make the ignition easier and also make the burning rate faster.
Yeah.
Second issue is that if there is a long haul which has been converted into a COVID hospital, in that case, what should we do? Say, if you can say that it will be difficult to have the 28 air changes as recommended by W.
I do agree, but again the CDC and the particular who says that concentration of the sanitizer, that is basically the alcohol, whether it is ethyl alcohol or alcohol, not part of it, whatever be the combination is, it should be more than 80%, then only it will be effective.
90%, approx 90% is required, sir. Gel can also suffice this requirement also. If we can search it out, we can give the manufacturer requirement. Definitely solution will be there in market, in my opinion.
Fine, that's if the particular companies come up with a particular solution, it's always welcome all the time. The whole point, bottom line in this category is how to reduce the fire risk. What are the components which are likely to basically aggregate or progress the particular propagation of fire? It can be reduced step by step. That is what I can personally feel.
Yeah, in other ways, sir, we can don't have such facility of having a sanitizer in that particular hospital for everybody, because it will need more volume. It will better to anybody who is coming in this hospital, he should have his own small bottle of sanitizer, so that the hazard can be localized and diverted. Not having a much more volume in hospital. It's a responsibility of individual to come up with a small bottle of sanitizer. Otherwise he will be not allowed in hospital or anywhere. Instead of going to store a huge volume of sanitizer to get everything sanitized, or person need to sanitize who is coming. So now people time has gone. कितना उनको सिखाएंगे, सिखाना था सिखा दिया. अगर नहीं आना है तो उसको उस हिसाब से हमें ट्रीट करना पड़ेगा. If you really want to work on it.
So we are poor countries. Any very poor person may not be able to access this particular.
Sir, poor, it is a matter of segregation. All are not poor. Everybody is having a smartphone nowadays. If he want to live, he can get these things.
Agree. Any questions?
Sir, any questions? Swastik, किसी को पूछना है तो अभी मिश्रा साहब भी हैं और प्रताप सर भी हैं. Any group participant want to ask any question, please ask.
Malik Saab, Pawar Saab, Deepak Davi ji, any questions?
Go ahead and shoot.
सर नमस्कार. क्वेश्चन कोई नहीं है सर, बस सुन रहे हैं सर. आप लोगों को सुनने में ही अच्छा लग रहा है, काफी जानकारी मिलती है.
सर ऐसा नहीं है कि हम क्या एक्सपर्ट है, ऐसा नहीं है. थोड़ी बहुत एक्सपीरियंस ली और हम बात करते हैं, बाकी कुछ नहीं है. I think your contribution should be there. So even though it will lead to us basically to understand the proper things and happening at various places.
Sir, I have one question. Hello.
Yeah, your camera.
Yeah, sir. My name is Kalpesh. Kalpesh. I would like.
Go ahead.
Code, maybe 2016 or the latest amendment was come. Is there any dedicated checklist on the fire section where we can go through and we can understand there is a requirement for the industry specific? So it will be helpful to as a EHS professional to verify the requirement.
No, the important thing is why jockey. It has got a specific function to do that. Whatever your system pressure is there, it is required to be maintained at particular pressure only. So it may be 3.5 or in industrial cases it may be 7 kg part of it. That is required to the jockey has got a specific role that it should maintain. That's it.
So my question here is there any dedicated checklist as per the National Building Code for the fire section for which is applicable to industry to verify as a EHS professional that the fire system is available in our organizations are meeting the requirement or not? So is there any dedicated checklist or something tool is available?
Yeah, they are not given in the particular the National Building Code, but separate lists have been done as per the industry part of it by the government itself.
Okay, so can we get that information? It will be useful to us.
I'll try to get this particular thing because I'm not interested. I cannot go out, so I can only request on telephone for some people who are in this particular business. Right? They are
Kalpesh, I want to add this. You can go through the entire standard and you can prepare it. I think Mishra sir is speaking. He want to say something. Mishra sir, please continue.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that industry is such a wide spectrum that you cannot have a generalized list. First thing. Second is, first thing is to identify yourself. What are you as an industry? Now, say there are several Indian standards that have been published relating to fire and life safety in industries or the grading of buildings or the structures or structural safety, then fire loading. There are several standards published on this issue. Now, if you get a checklist which has been made for a petrochemical complex, would not be suited for the chemical industry or a power producing plant. Power producing also gas-based boilers, they have different requirements. The coal-fired burners or the other forms of energy, say nuclear energy, say, all have different requirements. So never expect that there is going to be a checklist that would be common to all. Now see what are the requirements that are to be fulfilled. And that will be specific to your industry. As Dr. Rakesh is saying, that take the literature, identify yourself, and then find out as to what is required to be done. That becomes a checklist.
And one more thing, Mishra sir.
For that somebody has.
Mishra sir, one more thing I want to add. If we concentrate on checklist only, then we are not able to see other thing what is going on. So it is a demerit of checklist also.
Now say there are two aspects, Rakesh ji. One is that checklist is a tool which is to be used by the persons who have not designed the system.
Yes, right.
What you are saying is different. Now, to design fire and life safety in an industrial establishment would require several inputs. The hazardous area, the extent of hazard, the chemicals used, if say there is a failure analysis, what would happen? All these factors would be or are to be taken into consideration for designing the system. And that is the design aspect of it. And to keep that system operational, you need to carry out checks on this system every day, weekly, fortnightly, monthly, quarterly, 6 monthly or annually.
Yeah,
so checklist is to ensure the operation of the system, whereas what is happening, how to assess the hazard, how to reassess the hazard, how frequently that should be done, this is all a different aspect to have something in the industry. Once you have it, then you need a checklist to keep that thing in operation.
Yes.
This is my take on the checklist.
No, I have to add, Mr. Ji, I have to add one thing part of it. The risk analysis part is part and parcel with it. Environment also is concerned, and the life safety is also concerned, and so also later on the property part of it. We have to have a proper assessment, risk assessment done, and the area required to be protected with various firefighting systems, and whether it is automatic, whether it's manual, all those factors I should take into consideration, so that any accident happens in particularly hazardous industrial units part, then these are the proper things which can be there. Once the risk assessment is done, then subsequently all the hosts of a requirement for firefighting and restriction containment and other factors come into force.
Yes, sir. One more thing, if Kalpesh is looking for checklist, there is a audit standard for IS 14489. That is the entire audit standard. You can go through, you can draw your own checklist by going through this entire standard. As Dr. Mishra says, which industry it fall, you need to refer these codes standard and you can develop own requirement.
Yeah, I understand your the input which has been given. Yeah, it is specifically the industry gate based on the hazard. It may be higher than just the ordinary hazard, a medium hazard. Based on the hazard, we have to evaluate the building design, the material storage, and everything. We have to consider as input criteria, and based on that only we have to verify whether it's fitting to the National Building Code IS 2190 and fire standard codes, whatever are there, they are meeting or not. Okay, so thanks for your kind input. My one more question is regarding the offset printing machine. So we have the offset printing machine, so in which we use the oil-based ink. So there is a potential of fire is very less, but we have IR and UV lamps for the drying purpose when the paper is moved and out. So is there any suitable FDPS system where we can at the source of fire where it is during the heat it will be generated. So is there any? Can you provide your technical guidance on this offset printing machine so that it will be able to make it?
Can you explain what is the machine? What is the purpose you are looking for? Is it printing machine or drying machine?
It is a printing machine, offset printing machine. Okay, so we have a oil based ink where the solvent is not being used, but when there is a drying process is there where use the IR and UV lamps. So where there is a potential of fire may occur.
Yes. So basically, what is the temperature inside that machine? Generally, ambient temperature, or you can say process temperature inside your machine. Is it enclosed or is it open or semi-closed?
Sir, it is an enclosed one. Temperature exactly I have to verify it, what is the exact temperature, but it is not more than maybe 150 degrees. So there is a. I have to exactly check whether.
Okay, and there are a few options. If your machine is compatible with dry chemical powder, suppose if there is a discharge of dry chemical powder, no component will get damaged. First condition is that, and other part is that simply if any type of machine is there, there is a aerosol based technology. Modulars are available, UL listed product. There is no collateral damage to your machinery or the process, whatever you are doing after activation of this system. And third option is people generally use foam based system, fixed foam based system, that is automatic foam based system, but there is a malfunction issue and collateral damage will be there to machinery parts, and higher maintenance cost will be there and breakdown will be there. So it is better to have an aerosol. If you don't want to any breakdown, maintenance, collateral damage to machine, and easy to use, whenever it is used, you can replace it. There is no statutory guideline or hydro testing is required. No AMC is required. If you think the volume is too much high and it is going a shoot up of the budget, suppose I am going to protect a glass of 100 rupees. I can't give it protection 200 rupees. It should not be more than 10% of actual asset cost. So this factor you need to work out. What is the cost of machine and what will be the damage cost in case of fire. Third one, what will be the maintenance cost in case collateral damage happens. Suppose I am ready to take dry chemical powder, but powder will go inside the machinery part. You need to dismantle it. You need to have a vacuum cleaner or cleaning activity. It will lead to breakdown maintenance long term, or it may be for a week. If you don't want to any breakdown maintenance, then you can have a aerosol and clean agent also. But clean agent, you need to have a AMC, every 5-year hydro testing, monthly solenoid switch inspection testing schedule. These are the few demerits, and we are switching over to this aerosol in our entire code to avoid these things. After few years, you will not get spare part of clean agent. Valves are imported, UL listed, compatibility will be issue. Lot of things are there. That is my opinion. Other team members can also share their opinion.
Now, what Chaturvedi ji has said, now let us examine what the problem is. Offset printing machines are being used by the print media throughout the country and all big houses that print the stationery. There are two sets of problems there. One is that movement of the roller or the paper rolls which they get. They are huge rollers and they store it because the quantity of paper used per day or for printing and publishing one newspaper a day is too high. So you will have plenty of storage of or huge storage of paper rolls which cannot be moved without the mechanical assistance. One. Second is the quantity of printing ink that is being used, that is also potentially dangerous. Third problem is that if by chance, for any reason, if the paper does not move on the rollers and get printed, in that case the static charge generation is too high. So what we have to do first thing is to keep a visual that paper keeps on moving and the machines are properly connected to earthing, and also if they are close by they are bonded together. And all the printing press or newspapers, that is the highest, say go to Times of India, go to Indian Express, or say Statesman, any printing press you go for the national dailies, then you will find that they have been protected by a sprinkler system. So all these technology, the offset printing machine is not a new thing to the country. I remember somewhere in 80s, the offset printing machine was brought in and it was used extensively. After computers became common in the country, then these machines and together with the printing, that has undergone a sea change as far as printing of newspaper or any other material is concerned. Why I am saying newspaper? Because the quantity is too large. So the automated machines, they have sensors for these things. Now I could see, I was shown by a media person in National Delhi. I visited and I saw. He says, if for any reason I'll stop this paper and see, the whole system will stop. So now the automation has done so well for the protection also, and that is to be considered, that what type of offset printing machine, and also it is an obligation on the supplier of the machine to tell you as to what protection it should be provided. How would that machine be installed? Their people will come, they will install the machine. They will also incorporate all fire safety measures. So check out with the person who has installed or the company that has supplied you the machine, because offset printing machines are also in several models. You cannot have only one. The sizes are very different. So I do not know what is the size of your printing machine, offset printing machine that you are talking about. But invariably, I have told you the largest machine will also have only these fire protection measures. So better is to check with the agency that has supplied the machine. They will tell you. But by and large, the sprinkler for the storage area and the printing and the ink area also, now it is protected with the sprinkler for the high hazard category. Now it is not the normal sprinkler installation, and if the area is too vulnerable, where there what they have gone in for the deluge system even. So these are the different options that are being tossed in several industries, and I have not seen your press. So you find out as to how these options can be played, and life safety or the property safety is attained that you target for. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, sir, for your valuable guidance. I will go through the input which has been received.
Sir, this is Dharmesh Kosrekar.
Thank you.
Good day, sir. This is Dharmesh Kosrekar. On a question, sir. May I proceed?
Please.
Sir, what is the potential of fire used as a weapon of terrorism? आप कैसे देखते हैं इस चीज को? फायर को एक विपन के रूप में टेररिज्म के लिए इस्तेमाल करने के लिए आप कैसे देखते हैं इस चीज को? आपका ओपिनियन क्या है इसके बारे में?
Is it a deadly thing that they can use?
हाँ, तो उसके लिए हमारा प्रिपरेशन क्या होना चाहिए? आपका सजेशन चाहिए।
कुछ भी नहीं होना चाहिए और बहुत कुछ होना चाहिए। क्वेश्चन आप ऐसे पूछ रहे हैं।
सिंपल क्वेश्चन है सर।
सिंपल क्वेश्चन मैं आपको एक इसका जवाब देता हूँ। आप समझ लीजिए कि मैं क्या कहना चाहता हूँ। मीडिया व्हेन आई वाज इन जॉब, रिटायर नहीं हुआ तो मीडिया मेरे से बहुत पूछता था कि व्हाट इज योर प्रिपरेशन फॉर अर्थक्वेक इन दिल्ली? दिल्ली इज इन जोन 4, तो अगर अर्थक्वेक आया यहाँ तो आप क्या करेंगे? हमने कहा जो हम कर पाएंगे करेंगे। नहीं, बहुत सारी बिल्डिंग गिर जाएंगी, आपकी प्रिपरेशन क्या है? मैं कहा ये बताओ मुझे कितनी बिल्डिंग गिरेंगी? कहता दैट नोबडी नोज। Then I told him कि no preparation can be made for a indefinite volume of the anticipated work. अब दिल्ली में 100 बिल्डिंग गिरेंगी या 500 गिरेंगी या 5000 गिरेंगी, I do not know. और किसकी प्रिपरेशन करूं? 5000 की करूं कि 15000 की करूं कि 50000 की करूं? So there is a limit. अब टेररिस्ट फायर एक हाथ में ग्रेनेड लेकर के फेंकेगा और एक शॉट फायर करेगा, लिटिल क्वांटिटी ऑफ एक्सप्लोसिव इज यूज्ड, और अगर वही ग्रेनेड एक पेट्रोल के टैंक के ऊपर, जो रिफाइनरी में बड़े बड़े टैंक लगे हुए 50 मीटर 80 मीटर डायमीटर के, उसके ऊपर डालता है तो उसकी प्रिपरेशन अलग होगी। कमरे में बम फोड़ देता है, उसकी प्रिपरेशन अलग होगी। So this question itself has no dimension.
Absolutely sir. Sir, question ये है,
इसमें ये मैं कहना चाहूंगा जो मिश्रा साहब ने कहा है, अभी सऊदी अरामको में ड्रोन के साथ में रिफाइनरी पे अटैक किया, रिफाइनरी गॉट फायर। व्हाट इज द प्रिपरेशन? सो सच थिंग्स व्हिच कैन नॉट बी मेजर और कैलकुलेट और क्लियर assumption, we don't have such plan. अभी कोविड का क्या प्लान है? अगर हमको कोई पूछता आज से पहले व्हाट इज योर कोविड प्लान, तो हमें पता ही नहीं था। we doesn't assume this is going to be happen in a way. So like emergency comes with their own challenges and their own opportunity. That is the wisdom of that emergency responder, how he is going to utilize these things. Like Pratap Kargupikar sir says, terrorist attack, He has not prepared. I don't think he is prepared for terrorist attack in such a way that shelling and bulleting grenades will be thrown and how he is going to impact. If he has prepared, then he should have some protection level. If he so such things are coming, we need to handle how we can reduce the impact of these emergencies. That is the basic thing. Like Mr. Sir says, क्वेश्चन आपका सिलेबस के बाहर है तो बहुत ही अच्छे जो पढ़े लिखे लोग हैं वही उसका जवाब दे पाएंगे. तो 70% क्वेश्चन पेपर ऐसा ही बनाया जाता है कि सब पास हो जाएं. मेरिट में आने वालों को रेफरेंस बुक बहुत पढ़नी पड़ती है और मिश्रा साहब जैसे गाइडों के हाथ पैर जोड़ने पड़ते हैं, पैर छूने पड़ते हैं सुबह शाम, तब जाके मेरिट आती है.
सही बात है.
ठीक है ना.
एक चीज और ऐड
सर, ये पोटेंशियल है क्योंकि हम लोग जो रिस्क है उसको हम पोटेंशियल रिस्क के हिसाब से देखते हैं. तो कितना उसका इम्पैक्ट होगा उसके बारे में नहीं बात कर रहा हूँ. मैं बात कर रहा हूँ कि पोटेंशियल है ऐसा.
रिफाइनरी में आप रिफाइनरी में
डायरेक्शन में हम लोग सोचना है सर.
रिफाइनरी में एक सॉफ्टवेयर है पीपा, प्री इंसिडेंट प्लानिंग असेसमेंट. उसमें भी ये एज्यूम्पशन है कि 3 mm के फ्लैंज से लीकेज होगा तो ये सिचुएशन होगी. फिर पूरा पाइप फेलियर होगा तो क्या सिचुएशन होगी. फर्नेस एक्सप्लोजन हो गया तो क्या फर्नेस होगी. लेकिन रिफाइनरी में ये नहीं बताया कि ड्रोन आएगा आराम को रिफाइनरी पे गिरेगा तो क्या प्रिपरेशन होगी.
एब्सोल्युटली सर, अनप्रेडिक्टेड.
एक चीज और ध्यान रखिए, जब भी कभी असेसमेंट का बारे में सोचिए तो जो टेररिस्ट का अटैक है, जैसे एक बुलेट फायर होती है, बुलेट हैज गॉट ए इम्पैक्ट वेयर इट स्ट्राइक्स एंड इट इज यूनिडायरेक्शनल. एक ही दिशा में जिधर आप जिस टारगेट पे मारोगे बुलेट उसी की तरफ जाएगी, दाहिने बाएं नहीं चलती है वो. और किस चीज पे मारा है, अगर आदमी पे पड़ी तो आदमी मरेगा, और पेट्रोल के टैंक पे मारोगे तो पेट्रोल का टैंक जो है वो फटेगा और लीकेज शुरू हो जाएगा. ठीक है, तो क्वेश्चन ये है कि व्हाट इज हिटिंग एंड टू व्हाट इट इज हिटिंग. अब एक्सप्लोसिव पूरा रखा हुआ लैंड माइन बिछा करके बैठे रहते हैं नक्सली, अब कोने से एक जगह से एक ट्रिकल दबाते हैं, पूरी गाड़ियां उड़ जाती हैं, तो उसका भी रिस्क अपना है. तो कोई भी टेररिस्ट एक्टिविटी इज टू मैक्सिमाइज द डैमेज व्हिचएवर वे. दैट इज व्हाट इज टेररिज्म. कि या तो आप उसको आवाज से डरा दें, आवाज से नहीं तो धमाका करके डरा दें, एलईडी से कर दें, और जो दूसरे लैंड माइन्स हैं बिछा के वो कर दें, आदमी को होस्टेज कर लें. तो ये इसका बेसिक पर्पस है दहशतगर्दी. ये ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोगों को डराए, मीडिया में आए, लोग और डरे कि हाँ भाई इन्होंने बड़ा भारी काम कर दिया है. तो ये जो चीजें हैं टू मैक्सिमाइज, इसको मिनिमाइज आप नहीं कर सकते हैं. फिर मीडिया को कंट्रोल करना पड़ेगा कि इसने जो अटैक किया है, भाई बॉम्बे की ताज होटल की फायर जो हुई टेररिस्ट वाली, वो हिंदुस्तान में क्या दुनिया में किस वजह से मालूम चली? बिकॉज इट वाज कवर्ड ऑन मीडिया. मीडिया कवरेज नहीं करो, किसी को पता ही नहीं चलेगा. लो, डैमेज कंट्रोल हैज बीन डन. सो देयर आर वेरियस मेथड्स. They would try to maximize the damage and our effort should be to minimize the damage. That is the bottom line.
ये क्लासिक एग्जांपल एक देना चाहूंगा मैं. अभी हमने सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक करी, एक भी आदमी नहीं मरा, और हमारा इंडिया में ही नेक्सलिस अटैक के लिए पूरी टीम चली गई अंदर ओपन टू एयर में, और 14 जवान शहीद हो गए सीआरपीएफ के. तो सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक में तो एक भी लॉस नहीं हुआ हमारा धर्मेश, और इंडिया में नॉर्मल से उसमें हमारे 14 जवान शहीद हो गए. तो स्ट्रेटेजी तो हमने इंटरनेशनल लेवल की बनाई, लेकिन फेलियर कहाँ मिला? स्टेट लेवल पे, नेशनल लेवल पे फेलियर हो गया. तो दोनों चीजें अलग है. ये विजडम ऑफ ए कमांडर का विजडम ही है, उसको वो जीत दिलाता है और एक तरफ दूसरी तरफ उसको फेलियर दिलाता है. तो फेलियर आर द लर्निंग्स फॉर फ्यूचर.
Sir, I would like to give some inputs on this particular case. The lesson we learned with this particular terrorist attack is that see that you are directly not in a line of fire can use some remote monitors, remote gauge, all those factors, so that the chances of casualties to the fire services are less. Avoid the line of fire. That should be the basic concept.
Very good. लाइक रेडियो इमरजेंसी जब आप होता है, रेडियो एक्टिव जब एमिशन होता है, तो रेडियो एक्टिव का इमरजेंसी के लिए भी क्या फंडा है? कीप अवे डिस्टेंस एज मच एज कैन, टाइम डिले एज मच एज यू कैन. जितना समय आप बिता सकते हैं आप बिताइए. नो द रिस्क अबाउट द रेडियो एक्टिव. व्हाट इज द सेल्फ लाइफ, व्हाट इज द हाफ लाइफ ऑफ रेडिएशन. हैव ए प्रोटेक्टिव good detective equipment so that you can detect what is the radius and zone of radiation. Similarly, it is like a terrorist attack. Like Pratap sir is saying, you need to assess what type of weapon they are having. AK-47. Okay, search it out. What is the effective range of bullet of AK-47? That is 500 meter. It means you should not go within 500 meter even though you are protected with bullet jackets. So these are the limitations you need to calculate. That is
चतुर्वेदी साहब, थोड़ा सा करेक्शन कर रहा हूं मैं.
सर बोलिए.
इजाजत के साथ.
सर आपकी इजाजत ही है सर, आप हमारे परम आदरणीय.
Now what you have said, time, distance and shielding for radioactive जो मटेरियल की बात की, तो टाइम, एक्सपोजर ऑफ टाइम शुड बी एज लेस एज पॉसिबल. मैक्सिमाइज नहीं करना हमने टाइम.
मैं ये कहना चाह रहा था सर, टाइम डिले हम जितना कर सकते हैं उस इमरजेंसी या सोर्स ऑफ रेडिएशन के पास पहुंचने में, वो हम एडॉप्ट करें. अभी मुझे मैसेज मिला, तुरंत जाके मैं घुस गया एक्सरे रूम में. एक्सरे रूम में कोई आदमी है ही नहीं, वहां पे रेडिएशन सोर्स है. सो मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ, टाइम डिले मतलब आपको सिचुएशन असेस करके टाइम डिले एडॉप्ट करेंगे तो लेस एक्सपोजर रहेगा.
हाँ, उसी संदर्भ में कह रहा हूँ मैं.
हाँ सर.
दूसरा जो डिस्टेंस का मसला है, इट इज इनवर्सली प्रोपोर्शनल टू द स्क्वायर ऑफ द डिस्टेंस.
यस सर, दैट इज
जैसे जैसे आप डिस्टेंस बढ़ाते जाएंगे, एक टाइम ऐसा आएगा कि डिस्टेंस इतना हो जाएगा कि जो नेट रेडिएशन इफेक्ट है वो करीब करीब जीरो हो जाता है. जो हमारी ग्रीन जोन होती है, तो ग्रीन जोन में आप खड़े रहिए जहां पर रेडिएशन का इफेक्ट जीरो है. ठीक है, वो इसीलिए पहले सर्वे करके डिमार्केशन करते हैं कि भाई दिस इज ग्रीन एरिया, सो पीपल कैन मूव अप टू दिस एरिया विदाउट एनी रिस्क. देयर आफ्टर एज यू गेट इनटू द एरिया, ऑरेंज में जाइए, रेड में जाइए, तो क्या होगा कि योर टाइम ऑफ एक्सपोजर हैज टू बी मिनिमाइज्ड इन दैट एरिया. यू कैन नॉट वेट इन द ग्रीन जोन. But we will have to say, for the purpose of carrying out the rescue, you will have to enter into the orange and the red area also. But the care that should be taken is that we minimize the exposure time. And next thing that has been said, when we look at the problem, please, I'm saying it again and again, first identify your problem. Try to quantify the problem. अगर मतलब कोई बहुत जरूरी नहीं है कि आप उसको बड़ा फाइनल बिल्कुल कैलकुलेट करके मैथमेटिकल मॉडलिंग करें, वो नहीं कह रहा हूं मैं, कि थोड़ा सा आप उसके बारे में उसका एक दायरा खींचे. Identify your problem, quantify your problem and nearly quantify, and then see what are the options available. आप हर चीज को एंड यूज लेकर के आप पहले चलने लगते हैं. प्रॉब्लम देख लीजिए कहां पर है. So that would be a better way of understanding the things and also coming to a solution which would be right solution. Thank you very much, and I think I have taken enough time of you all.
Thank you, sir.
जी. Last questions from anyone?
Hello.
question, sir.
Please.
Hello, sir. Hello.
G, please.
Sir, my question is that how to consider the fire water capacity in high-rise building? And hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
And what is the fire pump capacity also? And in case of power supply failure, what is the emergency power supply system?
Two parts of the question. One is how to calculate. You are not to calculate anything. It is pre-calculated and it is given in table 7 of the National Building Code of India. Number one. And if pump fails, in that case, every building where these fire protection arrangements are provided, in particular the water-based arrangements like sprinkler or riser or downcomer, they are invariably provided with the fire service inlet. Take your fire pumping appliances, connect it to the inlet, give pressure from the outside if the pump has failed. Third part of the question you are asking, what is the arrangement for the power supply? Now, there are three sources. One is that you have electrical pump which is fed from two sources. One from the city electricity network and second is the power generator which is provided in the premises. And if that also fails, then in addition you have third thing which is the diesel driven pump that can be used for supplying the water to the fire protection system. I think I have answered all your three components of the question. Thank you.
Thank you.
One more addition I would like to see this in this case is basically we'll have to configure all the particular automatic system working so that you can know why these pumps are starting or stopping, especially the jockey pump. You should, the notification of all the pumps either stop or start should be there in a control room, your BMS room, so that you come to know that exactly what kind of an action is going at the pump room, which is not manned 24/7. So we call that
final closer sign off remark from Pratap Kargupikar sir. We request you what you would like to say in sign off statement.
The first and the foremost thing is don't anticipate the situation unless you go to ground zero. Then only access the entire area by going through and try to understand which is the area which is required to be taken into consideration first and then second part of it. Priority as required to be given to certain important areas, vulnerable areas first and subsequently later part of life safety is first. So you start not only firefighting at the same time, you can also start your one team can dedicate to this particular rescue part. One can be go to the particular firefighting aspect part of it. Simultaneously, if two things are done, the particular fire can be contained and subsequently extinguished later part of it. Very important thing, the inbuilt systems which are there, especially the sprinklers, whether they are working or whether all the water which was required for the sprinkler is exhausted, then what is the line of action? That is the important. Don't anticipate that everything will work in random at a various time part of it. Sprinkler may not work, even your pump may not work. So what is the next situation? So fortunately, standby concept is there, as which is the principle of firefighting part of it. So you have every standby. If main supply fails, you directly go to DG. If a DG goes, then again the diesel pump. These are the things which are kept in sequence, and they will work at some time. Part of even diesel pump is not going to work unless the battery is proper. So all the factors, the bottom line is basically inspection, and inspection is the only thing which will keep your system safe, your own people, fire service people also safe. from the particular any kind of fires.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, closer remark, vote of thanks by Swastik Jadeja.
Thank you very much, Rakesh Chaturvedi Sahab, Kargupikar Sahab, Mishra Sahab, and all respected fire officers, fire professionals. Thank you very much. Interactive sessions for making fire safe Bharat. Thank you very much all. Thank you.
It is pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.